Good morning, everybody. This is Stephen Pugh of the Home Bible College. It's January the 29th, and we're looking at Matthew chapter 20. Now, right through Matthew, we have teaching with regard to the Messianic Kingdom. This is the very next thing that is upon God's program, and right through we have this expression, the Kingdom of Heaven. I think that the kingdom of heaven as an expression is used only by Matthew, and Matthew, I believe, substitutes the word God for heaven because of Jewish modesty. But he's speaking about the same thing, and the kingdom of heaven is the Messianic Kingdom. It's not anything else. It's not Christianity. It is the Messianic Kingdom, and that's why the whole of Christ's ministry is focused upon the kingdom that is to come. And the kingdom that is to come is the time when the Lord Jesus, as Messiah of Israel, will sit upon the throne of his father David in Jerusalem, and there he will rule the whole world. That's what we're talking about. And in verse 1, the Lord Jesus gives us another parable of the kingdom. Now, he says, the kingdom of heaven is like a man that is a householder. Now, this householder is a person who has fields that need to be worked on, and so he goes out very early in the morning. Now, this means before 6 o'clock in the morning. He goes out before 6 o'clock in the morning, before it is daylight, to hire labourers for his vineyard. And he agrees to pay each of the labourers 1 penny for the day. This is the standard unit of wages for a man, and of course in those days a man worked all day, and at the end of the day he received his wages on that day. He didn't have to wait till the end of the month. He certainly didn't have to wait till the end of the next month. He was paid there and then, because in the Lord it was stated that a man should be paid every day for the work that he does every day, because he might have children at home that are hungry, and so the employer was not allowed to make him wait for his money. This is something I think that they should think about today, may I say. So he sends him into the vineyard, and he goes also again at the third hour. Now the third hour is 9 o'clock in the morning, as we would understand it, and he sees some others standing idle in the marketplace. In those days, labourers could be hired on a day rate, and the way in which they would obtain their work is they would go to the marketplace, and there in the marketplace they'd be chosen by the employer to work just for that day. So it was a day rate, and it was only 1 day of work at a time. This gave the employer a great deal of flexibility. If he wasn't happy with somebody's work, then he just didn't have to employ them the next day. So he goes out to the vineyard on the third hour, which is 9 o'clock in the morning, and he sees somebody, but he doesn't agree a fixed rate this time. He just says, I will pay what is right for you. And they of course trust him, and they go their way and they work in his vineyard. He then goes again at the 6th hour and at the 9th hour. So he goes at midday, and he also goes at 3 p.m. So he's going out every 3 hours and finding more and more men. He also goes out at the 11th hour. The 11th hour of the day was 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And he finds some people standing idle, and he says, why do you stand here all the day idle? And they say, well, because no one has hired us. So the householder says, well, go into the vineyard, and whatever is right, that you will receive. When evening was come, which was 6 o'clock in the evening, the Lord of the vineyard said to his steward, call the labourers and give them their hire, beginning with the last unto the first. So the whole of this parable then is an illustration of what Christ had said previously. In verse 30 of the previous passage, he'd said, but many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first. So he's illustrating that point. And when the labourers are called, he begins with those that were hired last. He begins with them, and he gives each one of them a penny for their work. He says, take this, and off you go. And then he starts with the next one, those that came in at 3 o'clock, and then those that came in at midday, those that came in at 9 o'clock, and those that came in early in the morning, those who started work at 6. And those that came in earlier in the day just automatically assumed that though they had agreed to work for a penny a day, that they would therefore get a lot more money, because after all, they've done the full 12 hours and they've borne all the heat of the day and they've worked faithfully. There's no question about that. They just assume that they'll get more. However, when he comes to pay them, he says, there we are, there's the penny a day that I agreed to pay you. And they murmur against him and say, what's this? You should be paying us more. And he says, friend, I do thee no wrong. Did you not agree with me to work for 1 penny? Take it and go your way. I will give unto this last, even as I gave unto thee. Is it not lawful to do whatever I will with my own money? Just because your eye is evil, is thine eye evil because I am good? You see, if the householder wishes to be generous, if he wishes to be even gracious, if he wishes to pay everybody exactly the same, even though they have done little work, they've done far less work, then his grace and his kindness must not be treated as being evil. That's the point. And so he says, the last shall be first, and the first shall be last. Now what that means is that when the Lord Jesus comes in judgment upon his people in the Messianic Kingdom, he will deal first with those who came in last. And those who came in first will be dealt with last. That's the point. And then he says, for many are called, but few are chosen. I have to confess, that last phrase, I don't understand what it means. I've been thinking about it, praying about it. I'm afraid I don't know. I do know what all the rest of it means. I don't know what that particular phrase means. Well, God bless you. My password for today is verse 16, which is, the last shall be first, and the first shall be last. God bless you. Speak to you in the morning. By the way, don't forget to like the video if you like it, and don't forget to subscribe to the video on YouTube. God bless you. Bye for now.